do. In fact, it had been said that we just didn't have any option. So let's look at, we'll talk about whatever is the difficult one, but if you want to look at infrastructure, Lagos-Calabar Road, you want to look at the BP's complex.
Abuja itself.
Abuja itself,
yes,
the capital city, you know, foreign direct investment and so on and so forth. So let's talk about it. Give me your overview of, well, quite frankly, Tinubu, you know, there's no way you prevent yourself from saying it. He's done great so far.
Yes.
And that's the truth. Yes. But there probably will be areas that even supporters might have one or two criticisms about. So give me your overview on President Tinubu.
Yeah, you know, in life, there's no way 100% you'll be able to satisfy the people you're leading. Some, whenever you're doing good, for the fact that you're not their language, you're not their ethnicity, they will still see you not doing anything. Because they want to feel like this is from my father, he needs to, but he's not from my father, whatever, so he's like, he's like a son of other mother.
Oh yeah.
So whatever President Ahmed Tinubu will do today, some people will still criticize him within his own government because they wish he's not the one. But there's nothing they could do. Today is the president. So when you do the whole assessment, Nigeria was in a serious crisis. Meaning, when you can recall back 3 months or 4 months before his inauguration, there was what is called no naira. So, right?
That's right.
There's going to be a change of currency.
Yes.
Well, he came into power and silenced all that. The note denomination, the note was not changed. And no, we're not even talking about notes anymore because we're in a virtual world now where the virtual money is the end thing. So why should we concentrate ourselves on the real physical money? In the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s, that's the end thing. But now we're in an era whereby IT is the end thing. So why couldn't we use the virtualization that we have in the money creation, the fiat system, to do that? And he came into power, he said, okay, I'm giving you 1 year so we could continue with the agenda of changing the currency, changing the note. So what is even the philosophy of changing the note? So you look at it, it's pointless, and you let it go. And nobody is even talking about, I'm going to the bank to cash money. Whenever you go to ATM, there's always money. So that is the problem he met on ground. And there is a foreign accounts that we have for our foreign reserve. Without that being surplus, with a lot of foreign, like a lot of dollar in it, hard currency, it will be difficult for government to run the country. Because you see, we need dollar or we need pounds or any of the foreign currency to be able to trade between Nigeria and any other country, right? So, but if you do not have the hard currency physically in your account with America, you will not be able to do anything. So he's trying to stabilize that foreign reserve.
Because, and this touches on, you know, his anxiety, but certainly labor regarding bringing foreign direct investment to the country. Because we must work to make money so that we can show
and
up
you know, money is overcreated. When you look at the fiat system, because of the virtual money we have in circulation, money is overcreated, meaning you have a lot of people having 1 million naira as their physical deposit in a bank. So by the time all of them are trying to withdraw 100 naira, you now realize that you'll not be able to even get it from the real bank, from the bank, right? So since money is overcreated, and you have more than 1 million Nigerians that can see they have 1 million naira. It's possible out of the 300 million. So if all of them are looking for $1, do we have it to be able to supply them? It's difficult. So that's why dollar was skyrocketing, was going. But what he did was to stabilize it, to at least, I realized just 2 days back, I was going through a transaction that I did 1 year ago. And I checked, the dollar was 1,557 1 year ago. And checking it today is not far from there. So I was thinking like today I'll be doing 5,000. When you look at the rate at which it got to 1,570. But he was able within 1 year to at least, let's say, within that 1,500. We're talking about he met it at 750, but the further other government also met it a certain amount, but you could see how it was able to go to 750. So the reality of our economy is, for the fact that internally money is being overcreated, externally that will be affected.
You know, when you say internally money is being over-created,
yes,
not everybody will understand exactly how that works. Over-creation of money?
Over-creation.
Because you talk about over-creation of money, and people, you don't even need to be an expert, you begin to think of over-creation of the Naira note. Is that not leading towards inflation?
That's what led us to where we're today. Over-creation of money, we just go back and look at our budget before now, 20 years back, it's 2.7 trillion. So within the course of 20 years, it's now times 10. So now when it's times 10, what was value of dollar then? 120 up to 180 thereabout. Between 1999, which was 75 Naira, or 79 Naira, or 80 Naira, to up to 2008, it now went to 180. So our budget now is 2.7 trillion. It now, it was less than a trillion before, and it went to 2.7, starting with Obasanjo, 2.8, 2.9. When you now look at it over the course of 20 years, from 2003 till now is 22 years, right? You realize that we're doing 27 trillion or 30 trillions. So when you budget 27 trillion for projects, and let's assume you are able to execute the project, this project will be executed in Naira. This project will be executed in Naira, right? So at the end of the day, it goes back to you and I, because we could be the contractor, we could be the consumer. That flow of cash from government to us will make us earn some money.
Yes.
So now, if that is the case, what happens to the foreign reserve that we have? Okay. We don't have a backup that will back the 27. So if we are doing 27 trillion today, then definitely if it's executed fully, then, and the normal common people, you and I, try to benefited from the 27 trillion, then we should be able to go to the market and ask for, or go back to the bank, I need a dollar of 1 billion Naira, I should be given. So if there's no 1 billion, then there will be increment of like law of demand and supply. There is no dollar, then I have to. Competition of you, and you're looking for it, and I was looking for it. So we're trying to say is not Tinubu's problem today that money is overcreated. He met it like that. Over the course of...
But when you talk about overcreation, because it's a almost dangerous term, delicate and perhaps even dangerous, because it is thought that irresponsible governments simply order the mint to print up all the money.
We're not printing. We're not printing money.
We're talking about overcreation.
Creation of money comes from the project we're doing.
Okay, now you continue if you want to, but Elder AK has called in, and thank you very much, Elder AK, for holding on. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Go ahead now, please.
Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. See, the transformation agenda of our president. Let me greet your man in the station there. Welcome.
Our guest, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed.
Yes. Okay. Mohammed, thank you so much.
Thank you too.
See, the agenda of our president mean well for us. Let us not forget so fast. Remembering the past government. So there was a time there was no cash.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, are you hearing what I'm saying?
Oh yes, we can hear you clearly.
And there was a time there was no cash in this country. There was no money. People were scrabbling to get money. Because without money, you cannot buy stable something. Cannot buy food. And many people were dying. But immediately this man came. People were traveling to get money. Yes. Without money, you cannot buy stable something. Cannot buy food. So immediately the man came. Everything, those things now have been stabilized. There's flow of cash in the country. And there are foreign reserves.
Elder Eke, I wonder if you're listening to yourself on your television set. Could you please mute your television set? That is what is causing the feedback.
Man will do more for us.
Lost
Oh, okay. Did you do that?
We lost
Okay. Elder Eke, so sorry about that, but you're one of our regulars, aren't you? Regulars know that you can't, participate by putting the volume on your television set up and hoping to hear, the program via your TV set when you are live. That's why we were getting this latency, they call it, but this feedback, this like echo. But thank you very much, Elder Eke, for calling in, because he went back to the points that you were making. There was a time when there's a paucity of funds here.
Yes, but that's overcome. So now again, what the point that I'm trying to make is you could make 27 trillion or 30 trillion budgets, right? But he, in his capacity, is not everything on the budget is going to execute. Budget is being allowed by all departments to bring what they have to do during the year. Can we continue? Yeah, during the year, right? All departments, the MDAs and all the local governments will present their budgets to the government, right? And when the budget is just a planning of what needs to be executed later. So as a government of government of efficiency, or let's put it there, the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a government of efficiency. Whatever budget that has been presented and executed, that are executed as a law, does not mean 100% the entire fund of that budget will be released. It must be objective. There must be objective, like you have an objection, the objectives that you want to implement an infrastructure. Here's the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's not like doing the business like before. Okay, we have 27 trillion, we must spend 27 trillion. If it's going to spend the entire budget of the nation now, you will see a change in the next 1 year. If it's going to implement and execute the budget by the end of next 1 year, when we come back and try to evaluate what he had achieved, you now realize that it's not going to be business as usual. We will see it on ground. We won't say, okay, we spent 15 trillion last year and nothing to show for it. So that's the point that I'm trying to make. Because if money is being overcreated from your budget, you budgeted, I'm spending X amount of money. So if that money has been executed or is an expense that you want to do, it's like a spending you want to do, then when you do the spending and finish, money goes back to people. And people will request for your forex. And if the forex is not available, it becomes unstable. So in my understanding is, it's not going to be business as usual. It's going to be, the budget you said is for a project, and a project must be executed fully and be implemented. So at the end of the day, there's going to be efficiency in terms of how things is going to be run. So that is the part that I'm happy with. He's an accountant. He's an accountant. So you can't just bring things for him and stuff.
He's a finance person. By the way, let me quickly announce that if you're watching us on an alternative channel, then the Niger Delta Sports Festival closing ceremony is in progress now, and TVC will be covering that. But as you know, you can always continue watching us on our YouTube channel that is running concurrently with this. So, indeed, it's good that you've because it's one of the most important points of this administration so far, because that is what affects everybody. People talk about hardships, and hardships have a way of affecting you, not just physically, but also emotionally, if not mentally. And what is a country if everybody in the country, has pains? There are pains. There's no way we escape that fact. But is something being done about it? Can we see the end of the tunnel and light at the end of the tunnel? I do believe that most informed commentaries say that, look, what's going on now, if it had started 8 years ago, the progress that would have been made, I mean, it will be a different story entirely from what we have today.
Yes.
And so that's one of the differences with Tinubu. He arrived with a plan of action.
Yes.
And as they say, he hit the ground running.
Yes. And he met difficulties.
Of course.
It was not smooth for him to start. And you know, one of the most difficult things for a leader, selecting the people you work with. You know, you to select the team of who is going to deliver for you. So, you know, and that one also...
That is a challenging one.
And you have to also look at the character thing. That, okay, by our character standard, this supposed to go to this region this time around. This supposed to go to this region this time. So even if you have the best guy within your region that can give you a better thing, because it's not going to that. No, the last guy was from Igbo side, and this time around it must be an Hausa man. You know, we have that.
Oh,
issue.
yes. Oh, yes.
So,
These are
we don't look at
challenges.
Nigeria as Nigeria. Okay, this is a Nigerian and it can deliver.
But on this very point that you are making, it's, you know, there have been arguments, conversations about it. But I think Tinubu is a man of, apart from being an accounting professional, also the man seems to have a knack, a talent with sourcing these people wherever they come from. It seems that he has a database of, you know, excellent assets from everywhere in the country. Because there's no part of this country that doesn't have assets that are of a national value. But Mazi Okoroafo had called in. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning to you, sir. Sorry to have kept you waiting a bit.
Good morning, sir. That's Mazi Okoroafo. Now, you see, when we talk about that, let's look at the issue of the loan, the students, at least.
Okay, that's students' loan.
Part of Nigerian students, part from schools at least, have seen one of the dividends of democracy. And the one that just touched my mind was that time when in Soka, Abuja, and some other six universities, when that point of no return, when the vice chancellors and the management were just turning the university as if another instance, at least when the president issued that statement that the DC, I know the DC was supposed to leave his state by saying, look, you go and rest, let another committee members come in and let this come and take 6 months, another 4 staff in that, and I put that there. That is what we talk about intervention. Now, when we look at, let's come back to the issue of, look at the issue of tax. You see, when the president introduced tax, we go to now look at President Trump now, what he came now.
Yes.
Trump is telling like the whole world, telling the country, America, that America first, that America is first. So whatever the America is doing, they have to, anything they need, they must do in their own country. That whatever you are going to bring from America, you must pay tax. That is what the president. So that is why the tax are not going. You see how Trump have dominated the whole world. The whole world, that it's roughly all the heads of state this whole world want to go and visit Trump. They talk about the tariff and the rest. So that is something that the things that let us sit down. That we will look at the tax issue that's president. That's look inward. If we look inward, Sayori and our guests will get the need for. We know very well that to go to school is an easy thing. It's a gradual process. It's something applicable to tax implementation. It's a gradual process. We know something must grow. And when something grows, that we wish that let these things come in sequential, not at the boa. We come to the boa, people starting. I see, like the protest that was going on there. First, the president, before they came to the protest, the protest. You see, at the protest, people wait, everybody did their own protest. At the same protest, the same thing going outside the whole world. We saw in America over the weekend. Over 3 million people will protest. Do we have such people in Nigeria to put like that? Because you go to South Korea, now what I want the president to look into that what I mean, they should tell our judges in all the judicial steps. Any judgment that let us see the judges who are giving any statement they are making, any pronouncement they are making. When they are filming, they should film all of them. Because look at the South Korea, when the judge was giving that the president should go and they saw everything live and direct. Not a question of covering the judge. Here in Nigeria, we cover the judges and not see pronouncement. It is not sure. Sometimes that is why people they say judicial. It's better to look into the judiciary aspect and to try about to them. This out of school system, man. Taken out of proportion because most children, you see the men of the discipline, they have a mineral resources. They go there and start harassing the mineral instead of going to school. The parents and the third tier of government which the governors have come to hijack. They will say they have already hijacked. They don't want the third tier to be on their own independent, which is not healthy. The parents should help the state so that what the Supreme Court says, they should implement it. Not what the Supreme Court says, the governor decide and do what they want to do, which is not what you know. Vanity of vanity over. Good morning, sir. You're good morning, Nigeria. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorafor. You know, and well, as a man of learning yourself, you know, Dr. Ibrahim Muhammad, this point about the president's efforts towards, as it were, is the word liberalizing or making much more available higher education to people that would otherwise not have been able to benefit via this policy that he had said that it's almost like no Nigerian, you know,
should not be educated. Everybody should be educated.
No Nigerian should be left behind.
Yes, when you see, I was raised in Lagos, could speak Yoruba very well and write, and I also English, of course, right? So I was going through my records in the last 40 years with a friend. Then when I went to, there was no primary school that you could pay for 40 years back. No private school.
That's right.
Now, so we went to public school. Then we went to secondary public school. I was telling him when I was in university, it was just about 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, let's say, or 95 to 2000. We were paying 18 naira just for admission. But eventually, in the last, now we go to private university, private school, private. And I was telling my friend, will you take your child to the public school? He said, no. I said, why? He said, no. I said, why? He said, no. So now, but what the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing is, that 1980 secondary school that anybody could access, that is the same thing is bringing back. Because if you make school expensive or you make it private, then that means whoever that cannot afford to take the education will now become, who has money, that's who is supposed to go. And if that is the condition 40, 50 years ago, a lot of us couldn't have gone to school. A lot of us couldn't have been here because when you realize that there was a policy in the Southwest, no private school. And that's our lowest policy. And that is the same ideology that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is having. But this time around, it's coming in the entire nation, that education should be at the doorstep of everyone.
Indeed, you know, and you see, I've got to take Mr. George, who has just called in. Okay. But as you were speaking, something occurred to me, but I hope I'll be able to slip it in later. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yari, and good morning to your guys there.
Yes.
Uncle Yari, Nigeria is a very large and complicated country. I have the habit of watching things in our country sector by sector. You are not likely to give me time to veer into many sectors with the 1 minute or so that you normally give us. But on the average, Uncle Yari, I would give Mr. President a pass mark so far, in the sense that all the promises he made, because if you go back to his manifestos, there are touched about 90%, 85 to 90% of them. So, on the average, the ones he has touched, there are so many and too numerous to discuss at just one session like this. All I can say is that so far, he has demonstrated ability to handle complicated situations. That is what you need in a president for a country like this. He has also shown that he knows what he's doing. That quality in a leader will always bring success. Let people criticize and abuse him 24 hours a day. It doesn't get him distracted. He goes ahead and he does what he knows is best. That is what we need. And at the end of the day, we'll get somewhere. I would like to give an advice on just two sectors. One, the foreign exchange sector and the petroleum industry.
Okay.
The foreign exchange sector, Uncle Yori, we know that the 1,500 or thereabouts that the Naira has fallen into is not the real value in the market. The real experts will tell you that the actual value of the Naira ranges between 800 and 900 Naira to a dollar. I have seen some, in Ikeja here, I have met some foreign exchange dealers who told me that they have decided that the Naira will never go below 1,500. And they seem to be succeeding. Whenever it goes anything below 1,500, and if it goes 1,490 today, tomorrow you see that they will bring it back to 1,500 or above. The CBN governor promised us aggressive legislation. I have not seen it. Maybe the president needs to look at that sector.
Okay.
We have to be real in that sector. Otherwise, because it is the main, it's like the brain box of an economy. If we allow it to be in the hands of a cabal, will remain like this. Then the petroleum sector. I know the president has just appointed a new team to NNPC board. He shouldn't end it there. There is the cabal that is in that sector, they are almost unmatchable. So he needs to take a step further to make sure that those who are fighting Dangote, who are making sure, who want to make sure that Dangote does not succeed to make the fuel cheap for people, he should get rid of them. And that is my candid advice. You will not give me more time. I could go on and on.
I can. Thank you very much, Mr. George. Indeed.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Do please stay with us. We'll be right back. And then my guest, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed, policy analyst, will react maybe to some of those things that were said as we continue this conversation. Stay with us, please.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Okay, welcome back. As I said, our guest is Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed, and we're taking a look at 2 years of President Tinubu in office. By most accounts, you know, it's been a positive journey, yes. And indeed, indications abound, yes, that you keep this pace up, especially if it is the will of the electorate. In 8 years, you keep this up for 8 years, this pace. For 8 years,
the agenda is 30 years.
Well, yes,
the agenda. Our agenda is the next 30 years.
Yes, but
we're looking at. You know, we have
of
to
which
have
he
a
will
vision.
do 8.
8 years. We
yes.
have to have a vision for the nation.
If the electorate agrees,
you know, based on what he's going to contribute, the next 2 years will determine the next 4 years.
That's right.
Will determine the next 4
That's
years.
right.
So
That's
that
right.
means whoever there is going to succeed him must be able to be up to task.
Yes.
And so it's not going to be an issue of selection of anybody to rule us. You know, a leader must be selected by the right minds. We know now that, okay, we can go to the election, anybody could, yes, but we at least need to present who is going to continue. Look at Lagos. Lagos is completely developed as a state. It looks like a country to me if I'm moving around Lagos today. It's more like Singapore,
That's right.
or Taiwan, right? So, but when you look at the succession of leaders of Lagos. There's an agenda from 1999 till now. That's about 20 to 30 years of democracy. So you could see that. So now if Nigeria needs to move on, not today this party will carry on dumb, another party will carry. No, we should look at our country like, look, let's unify ourselves. We shouldn't be looking at APC, PDP. Let's look at ourselves as a country and who's supposed to direct us, supposed to be anybody that can deliver.
Well, that's the work that I think Tinubu is doing. Is really showing. Say, look, I don't have time for
There's no part of the country that is not being represented in this government.
Oh.
When you look at the entire structure, take it the number 1 to 5, you have a representative. So you have someone that can say yes or no in public for you, and you have somebody that can fight for you. So these are the things that I can give credits to him.
Yeah.
Like in terms of administrative selection of his own executives, was able to balance that, right? So at the same time, again, when you look at how the politics of Nigeria has been, it's also not having issues with the legislative, in the sense that he knows how to deal with them. You know, if you don't know how to deal with them, then you have a problem. You understand? So that is also balance. Then when you look at the secretary of the government and all the things the party and the people is directing, you realize that he's the leader we've been looking for in the last 40 years we couldn't get until now. So if that is the case, our agenda should be Vision 2050. What do we supposed to achieve? Because you and I in next maybe 30, 40, we don't know, we'll be out. So what are we doing today to let our children that we're taking to expensive school that we say will end up getting? Because if they are finished with all the schools we're paying, the amount of money we're paying in the schools we're taking them to, and they cannot be able to do anything in the next 10 years.
What you're talking about here is Tinubu's strategic vision.
Yes.
It's clear that there is one, and he's been glued to it. Yes. It's very difficult, well nigh impossible to distract him from, this strategic vision that he's been pursuing. Now, when you're talking about education, it perhaps a casual thought, but it just occurred to me that as you were saying, you remembered that there was a time when it was very difficult to pay for, primary schools, well, apart from maybe the Coronas of this world, maybe Grange, but that is 1-2 percentage points. 99% were the kind of schools that you were talking about. And our universities, all of those people are peopled, all of those structures are peopled by those who will tell you proudly, I'm a product of our lower education.
Yes. Our product of Nnamdi Azikiwe. Our product of Sedona.
Exactly.
So now we want our children to
I just said because you specified the Lagos.
Lagos,
and
the
stride and of course everybody knows Tinubu was very keenly involved in that as well.
Yes. Yes.
So you see some elite schools developing in this country, not just in Lagos, but certainly in Lagos. You begin to wonder sometimes, who are those schools for? Who can afford these schools? Multi-million naira. In fact, I just hope some of them don't want you to pay in foreign currency.
Yes, in foreign currency.
So are you surprised that people are investing that kind of a thing, come and do a totally different kind of education, somebody else's syllabus, because of where you are situated in this world? That's the thing that's going to be. And so there are, as you know, there are schools that are better than universities in terms of their structure.
Yes.
What do you think accounts for that?
You see, the thing is we, the consumers, making some kind of choices. Like it's like a pride. My child will not go to public
school. Like flexing.
Yes, my child will not go to public school. My watch supposed to be LV. My shoe supposed to be Louis Vuitton. That kind of a thing will give a business guy, let me invest and grab what they have.
Okay, because yes, there's a market for it there.
Yes, and grab what they have. But at the end of the day, the end result is the children that you're taking to that expensive school, with the guy going to local school, they end up working for Nigeria. And it won't be better. The salary will be the same. So if you take your child to Leeds in the UK, Will you leave your child to be staying in the United Kingdom? No, you still bring him back. So he's coming back to compete with whoever that has gone to Olusoyan Primary School at Agege. And the Agege guy will be quite better because he understands the structure of how to survive in Nigeria. So you'll be able to. So what Professor Buhari is trying to do is, in as much as we have expensive school, let's also invest in the other ones that we're neglecting.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, it's a choice.
So there's room for, thank you, there's room for all.
Yes.
So we're doing what we're doing. You people can also,
it's a choice.
It's a democracy, it's a free market.
Yes,
we're not forcing anybody, go ahead.
Because the government needs to also allow other businesses to exist. Because that will be a burden if we only have local schools, that we don't have private school. So you have to allow people to invest, and just like in a hotel business now, if you say you want to regulate hotel business that is going to be government-powered hotel businesses, you will not be able to do. But there are choices. There's 5K hotel, 10K hotel, 50, 350. So it's a choice of human beings to select. So the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is looking into, or is not into education seriously, and also try to raise that point that the other man said about Naira being supposed to be 800 Naira or 900. The reality is this: the people at CBN, they know what they're doing because I've seen the stability in Naira not going to 2,500. But the government had done something when it had gone to 2,000, and now is almost 6 months, it's in between 1,005 and 1,006. So that will tell you that it's the people in control of the currency adding the 100. But before it was like let's just get 1,000 out of this.
That's right.
So and if the dollar is enough, we don't own it. We look for it, right, as a country. Just like the money that you and I having, we don't own it. We'll go out and look for it. So if you don't have money, your children is asking for a lot of things from you. What do? You tell them, no, you cannot get it. Subsidize, do. So the dollar is not enough for everyone to ask for it. So definitely government needs to say, look, it can be more than this. And if anybody is taking more than this, and I'll come after such person. So that's why Naira has not gone to the level it was going before, because there's a control. You need to stop somewhere. So he met it was just going, and it's
and as Mr. George was saying, there are those who are trying to manipulate the rate.
But he now woke up saying no. So there's a stability in that, so we should give credit to. So even if it's 1.5, we're complaining. At least the psychology of us adjusting to the reality is already there, and it's all like when you go. Last time when we were talking about inflation, that's the consumer index, price index, but when we now go back from the last month up to now it's still stable. It's all like things have changed. So I believe in the next 3 or 4 months, 5 months, when we come back, we'll still be talking about Nigeria is still good because of the direction.
Indeed. In terms of the strategic vision thing we're talking about, the Lagos Calabar, project.
Yes.
In fact, the Minister of Works had reason to come on air over the weekend. You must have seen it.
Yes.
And he gave a progress report on that particular project. Yes. There have been those who have been criticizing it, but as you said, President Tinubu is a man of vision. Once the vision is clear, he doesn't work alone, of course. They're very sure of the roadmap, then they just pursue it. So as people were complaining, this project, this infrastructural project has been going on, and we've made very good progress on it. Who's going to be benefiting from all of that? It's not Tinubu as a person. It's us.
And transportation is a key. See, if you have security, you have transportation, you don't need to do anything you have hospitals, you have education. You as a government, you just be living and sleeping, because the infrastructure has already been there. So yours is just to patch it and fix it. But when it's not there at all,
that's a problem.
So should we be looking at Lagos Onitsha or Lagos Enugu, the road that we're having for almost 60 years? That is the only roads we should have in Nigeria? Definitely somebody needs to create a project. Say, okay, why can't I connect Lagos to Port Harcourt direct? Okay, why can I, if I can go to Calabar, then I can get Port Harcourt out of it. That is the express. So, and the airline business will still be competitive. Those that still want to fly will fly.
Yeah.
But the people, the majority of us, 90% of us, move by road. So now, Calabar to me, as a Lagosian, is like a very far end of the world. But if I know how...
Did you just say as a Lagosian?
Yes.
You know, I caught it, and I wanted you to bring it up. That you were brought up here,
and I live in the north, but I still call myself Lagosian.
That's because of how close you are.
Yes,
you speak the language, and that's the whole idea. That's the idea, I think, for the entirety of the country. People, you know, there have been incidents where people unfortunately have had to make the statement that every Nigerian has a right to exist and make his life.
And I mind you, I'm from Kano State.
Yes.
But I say I will make it as a Lagosian. So I want to go to Calabar. Calabar is close by here. So, and you know, Calabar has a recreation, a natural recreation environment whereby people, that Obudu, right? I think it's in Calabar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's gone because you have to fly. And maybe the roads are not good. You don't want to go by roads. You know, I look at this Eco Atlantic as I was coming. See, this is a very good infrastructure. What is government supposed to do? Do hotels, do children place, go and copy Orlando. What Orlando or Dubai kind of thing had done, to do it here. We shouldn't wait for people to live here. We should look at it as a business. Build offices, build remote offices for people that will bring their computers, come and sit down and do IT thing, and also bring hotels that people can come and enjoy beaches and bring children. So
but as you know, a lot of work is going on in terms of IT development.
Yes, here.
Under this Tinubu administration.
Yes.
And this is part of what, and all of this is just 2 years. Can you imagine that this is just at half time?
Yes, and the 2 years is not a smooth 2 years. You know, if you enter a building that's completely new with everything inside, you start. But no, there was a problem for him to solve before he can even. So I can't even say he has done. He started his government to stabilize his government. That 2 years is for him to stabilize what's the problem of Nigeria, to make sure that we're okay. Because last 1 year, when we come back to this studio and say, I want to evaluate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, people will be calling to say, no, we don't agree with you. But you can see, these are your critics, people that come in to say, no, I disagree with the speaker. But they're coming in to say they're impressed. And when you hear also the tone, some of them are not even from Southwest. They are not Yorubas. I think the first caller, by his accent, he called like an Igbo.
Indeed.
So that's just an achievement, because he was able to unify us by his action.
But there still will be the naysayers.
Yes, there still needs a lot.
There will still be the naysayers. Yes. There are people who actually, unfortunately, for whatever reason, just hate.
Yes.
Just hate is the word, the fact that he's doing so well.
But he, as a president, he has one positive thing. He doesn't look at people criticizing him as his enemy. He brings them closer.
That's another thing about Bola Ahmed Tinubu that we're talking about.
He brings them closer. I say, okay, that's what you said. Okay, let's look at what you said.
It's uncanny. He does that.
Let's look at what you said. I was talking with someone, is saying, you know, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the type that whenever you are productive and give him results, he wants to bring you closer. So if that is someone close to him saying what he's looking for, productive and result-driven people.
And he's not afraid to even tinker with the system. The news report the other day, I heard the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Wike, talking about how he had to apply to the president that, look, this TSA business, you're going to have to save us from it.
Yes, and he did.
And he said, prove it to me. Tell me what you intend to do. So, I mean, it just struck me that this is one heck of an executive kind of a president. Tell me what you mean. I put you there. He's not known to be, you know, interfering and proposing and micromanaging, but prove your.
And where is the so-called person you call coming from? Which party is he coming from?
Opposition.
So that's our leader. That is our leader. We just said, even if you don't like him.
He's a PDP man.
Yes.
Again, this is to Tinubu's credit again. You know, I don't know Can you recall, as you're sitting there, somebody else who has done this kind of a thing? You bringing opposition into your party, into
during
your government?
Musair,
okay.
He was able to do government of unity.
Sort of unity.
Yes, like to unite us. He was trying to bring AMPP into which he did, but it didn't last long.
Unfortunately,
it didn't last long. But this is a critical position, FCT, where the government itself, if it's not doing well, will be seen. When you do very good
that's right.
in a federal capital, everybody will say you're doing well in Nigeria. So he now picked that critical position and give it to who? Someone that he knows will deliver.
Will deliver. It doesn't matter where he's coming from.
Because we've seen what Wike had done.
The color of his house doesn't matter. The fact that his house is brown.
So that makes me happy.
And I don't like brown. Yes. Therefore, I'm not taking him. You get the analogy I'm making here.
Yes.
Those are inconsequential things.
Yes. So this is something we should be looking for in a critical country like ours, whereby we have different languages, different ethnicities, 300 to 500 people, 300 to 500 ethnicity or 300 to 500 languages.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to come with language like English to be talking to them for them to understand. So you need to do by action.
You know what, Ibrahim? You see, we enjoyed ourselves too much. So much so that we've run out of time. But it's just like when that caller, George, called in from Lagos and saying that, look, I could go on and on. There's so much to say.
6 minutes to go.
Yes, there's so much to say, but I'm afraid we're going to have to save it for another day.
Yes.
The much that we have said, it has been quite inspiring, but then again, everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Yes.
That's what we do this kind of a program for. People can call in and let us know what they think. So I want to thank you very much, Ibrahim, for coming on. Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed, policy analyst and member of the Tinubu Support Group. And as he was explaining to us, chairman of the 100% Focus. Thank you very much for coming on. Look forward to seeing you again not too long from now so we can continue with a conversation like this. Okay, so that's our program. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch. Sometimes, it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen?
First, with breaking news.
Meet Benga Oreshegun, a fearless voice and an advocate for the truth. He's bringing fresh energy and bold insights to journalists' Hangout.
Get ready for deeper analysis and dynamic perspectives. Join me and Babajide Kolade Otitoju with other veteran journalists on Journalists Hangout. Weekdays from 5 p.m. and on Sundays 1:30 p.m.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Hello and thanks for joining us on TVC News this hour. We're staying with the development from Bokkos local government area of Plateau State, where the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has promised to deploy more troops to the vulnerable communities to guarantee their safety against attackers and also promoting peaceful cohesion. The lieutenant spoke during a meeting with stakeholders in the troubled Bokkos community. Our senior reporter, Funom Joshua, has more details.
Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Oluyemi Oluyede, arrived at the Mangu Council area of Plateau State and then went straight to the venue of an engagement he hosted with leaders of communities in the area. The recent invasion of communities that left many people dead, including women and children, urgently brought the army chief to the community. The chorus is coming barely 24 hours after the visit of the National Security Advisor on the same issue. So much was deliberated